future also. So I don't find it anything I can add to Dr. Hirwani. Even today I just call him up and say, this is my thing, can you help me? And personally I say, you must all visit his center. It's great to work in their group. Formally, I must say, I thank Dr. Neeru for calling me today. I actually like being associated in this, continue to look. Given an option, I would only work on this area also. So it's over the years, it's just become a passion also, and you enjoy it. It's also nice to be back in IRA because I'm a student from IRA only. I started my whole life here itself. So, yeah, right here, I grew up here, in fact, because my father was in NPL. So the tall building, it's all nostalgic. It's something like coming back to your own, house, rather mother's house, if you think. But and you have walked through these streets. So any opportunity to IRA is something I will never say no. Having said this, you've gone through so many days of interaction. Maybe 21 days for an IP program is a big challenge for the organizer also, because this is a very evolving school of study. It's not difficult. It's not easy to bring the topics which would be the audience also has to understand. It's a pretty dry area, very heavy and area also, and very dry. You talk about laws, you talk about things. But one thing I must say, by end of this, now today is the 20th day. You need not show 3D and 3H and 3 all. Everybody in this audience should know what is 3D. I should not have a slide, what is 3D. Unless I'm going to take out dissect that 3D and bring out an aspect which I want to argue. In the earlier presentation, I thought it was a great presentation, very good, the way you have captured. But that's why, nobody should ask that table. It's a great way of putting it. Then you should say as in India, and applicable to agri sector also. Because stem cell technology today, there are many patents which are being filed. I think you had Dr. Kardam. Oh, he didn't come earlier. Okay. So you can ask him how many are pending there. There are already a lot of applications. I know a lot of institutions, including Reliance Group, and some of the groups have started applying. And they are still waiting for decision. It's not going to be easy for the patent office to give their decisions. Having said that, if I don't have stem cell technology, especially as related to the medical sector, I'll have lots of my clients asking me for solutions. There are some vital diseases which only this technology gives solution. And you need to build that R&D in it. So please look at innovation and patents as one way of adding on to our R&D sector. You must not always think that this is ownership and rights. It is much beyond that. Somehow this area of IP signals too much of negativity in the society. And I don't think it is so negative. If this regime had not been there, even in the days of Thomas Alva Edison, I don't think you would have seen so much of technologies which you are now using, which big companies, including the light industry, entire industry is standing on one patent. 1,090 patents that gentleman had, and he used every patent for doing more R&D. So patents are not only ownership, they are something much more than that. They signal the level of technology development in a society. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. Many of you I was seeing in your participant profile, there are people who are from R&D organization. Very few are in here from industry, is it? What I am trying to tell you through this is there is one way of understanding the knowledge which we gain in patents, which is important for especially public sector organization like us, because we are also the sort of public sector organization are the ones which do lot of risk studies. You know, any investments made in anything, pardon me when I say in seed sector also, if we had not started our earlier biotechnological research projects, today the seed sector would have not been in a position where they have taken some of the lessons from here and gone forward. Today R&D sector in the private also is operating. This is only a recent thing. Last 10 years only you have all the R&D sectors operating in all the seed companies. They never invested before that, because any risk type of technology generation first starts in public sector. That you must, because we have that responsibility. Now when we do that technology generation, we also need to understand that there are some outputs which can be utilized for understanding the trends. That is important to us, because we are in that level to tell to society that this is the trend which is coming out, hence you can take. Now to us in NAARM, I have so many of our friends from private sector coming and asking us, can you give us status reports of this technology? We have an investor who wants to make. We have a person who is interested to enter India, but we want an objective analysis which can help us to convince our investors to make investment for this technology. That is what I am trying to tell you, what Dr. Hirvani taught, what you should develop yourself when you are all very young, and I hope many of you are also research associates. There is a school of informatics as a science coming up, and this school, that is what Dr. Hirvani heads in CSIR. At any given point of time in his lab, in his group, there are about 20-25 people, RAs who are associated. And he is also located in Pune, where most of them are absorbed in the private sector by after their stint there. All these people are looking for manpower with trained, skilled, who will do the search, who will interpret the results, who will analyze the results and give a report. I am talking about 4 steps. Everybody does search, but that other 3, not many, you need a little bit more experience. That's what I am saying. Not impossible, but you need experience. This we are going to just talk. So this paper is actually there in I think 2010 or 11 Journal of Intellectual Property. We have done a series of studies like this. I was doing a project on nanotechnology, and it was a policy project on nanotechnology applications in agriculture, and it was way back in 2007-8 when nanoscience has not even, we didn't even have a nano project in the country in agriculture, but it was what we call as ex ante study. What are those applications which that particular technology can? Can I advise my policy makers that yes, there is potential and you need to put money, because in all these cutting edge technologies, you need to, lot of investments are needed. Now, this biotech which we are going to talk is, we'll talk about the BT cotton, and I'm sure everybody knows about BT cotton. I don't have to go into the details of what this BT cotton is, because all of you are from agriculture, no? Huh? So we know what is this. What is the controversy in BT cotton? What is so great about BT cotton? Now, let's talk about this and understand let's not deviate before that. So what I am trying to say is, we try to use and try to analyze some of the patterns which are generated around this technology, and try to understand what is the way the technology has gone, and we try to relate it to our own country scenario. Now, when you start doing that, and I'm sure Dr. Hirvani must have told you, a patent document is an extremely complex document. You all are used to doing search in literature. And many of the people who are from ICR, we do it straight away, go to Sarah and do it. It's not very difficult. All of you for your MSc thesis or your PhD thesis have done that. But searching a patent, how many of you have searched patents? Let me tell you, patent search has to be experienced. It is not going to come into our heads. Even today, after now we have been doing since 2006, almost 10 years in this, and I'm still, I'll say I am probably only 50% knowledgeable in it. I told you, no, I still ring up Dr. Hirwani sometimes when I get it. It's a very complex situation. And every year, now this one, you must, if you are thinking of PAT Informatics as a career, also remember, just now I got a phone, 2 phones, they were both from people selling the tools for patent analytics. It's becoming a crowded domain. Every second company is actually having a software which has got some add-ons and better thing. Then you yourself are confused how to go about also. For that we need to be very clear in our concepts. What did we learn from Dr. Hirwani's lecture? That there's a, he talked about patent informatics only. So PAT Informatics, it's a new term which has actually been coined by a very leading information. Who is the coiner? You've done our course, 412. No, you don't remember? Try and see. Just Google PAT Informatics. He's one of the leading information science experts located in the US, who originally TRIPP is the one who had coined this word. And is a scientist by himself, trying to use the information technology developments into patents. Now, why do I need to do that? I need to do that because I feel there is lot of, what is patent given for? What's a patent given for? You have to start talking. I'm telling you, otherwise it will never an interesting field. This is a very dry field unless you yourself are involved in it. Don't feel shy. You may say the wrong thing, but you should not feel shy. Okay? You have to talk. Because there is no standard book. There is only one book on PAT Informatics by Stephen Adams. It's a very good book. Extremely good book. 3 editions have come and you must read it if you are thinking that you need to go. Okay? Yeah, I'll give you the, I think somewhere it will be there in the slides also, otherwise I'll give you the copy. And if you ever visit NAARM, we have lots of copies of it in our library. Because I think that's one of the standard books. Then of course, we have also now, I think I have reached a stage where we need to write a book for you, for the Indian audience also, and just that we don't seem to be getting time. Now why do we do that? Because when I look at a patent, I get more information than what I look in a paper. What does paper signify to you? When you search papers, generally literature gives you the level of science. Patents give you level of technology. You must understand the difference between science and technology. Then, now there are new databases which are coming which give on products. These are new ones which are coming. Only last year we got another commercial provider who talks about products available in the market on that technology. Because technology, when we'll go to the strategy lecture, you will see I am not having a patent only for owning it. I am looking at translating my technology into NPD, new product development. I need to know what are those products in that area. Because NPL, new non-patent literature, is also prior art. That you must have understood. Any booklet on any product, if it is available in public domain, also forms part of NPL. So if I have any literature, I need to know. I have to go to those databases if I have to establish a novelty of an invention. Now, when I look at a patent, what else do I get information? I get to know who is the inventor, who owns the patent. Inventors, do they own the patent? No. It is the assignees. I also need to know if that in the USPTO, the assignees, the inventor first owns it, he assigns it to another company, and over the years, some assignees reassign it to somebody. Or, I mean, I need to know that, whether it is assigned to others. You have so many patents today. When Pioneer is in the major job of restructuring itself. Today, Syngenta is already, I'm sure, if you are from seed industry, you should know, it is seriously considering a proposal from Monsanto for an acquisition. So all those 1,000-odd patents owned by Syngenta in their different verticals will also be over the years coming this side. And if Monsanto-Syngenta acquisition, what we call strategy has to come to a thing, both the parties will be doing a search on there and finding what are the patents which I can reassign. It's all property. It's all property. I think you all should know that one of the biggest blunders Volkswagen made during the takeover of one of its companies was it did not look at the patent portfolio. Afterwards, when it was again associating in a deal with another company, this came up that it did not own the patents of the company from where it bought. And they had to pay extra $2 billion to get that and then go in for another acquisition. So intellectual property are now becoming much more important property than even the capital costs. In most annual reports of companies, they do not talk about capital assets. They talk about intellectual assets. That gives the value of a company. Now all that comes from here. If today Syngenta wants to sell, it's going to make a whole stock position, including its properties. There's X number of patents. These are the inventors. These are the rights as per my policy in my institute for next 20 years. This is the legal status of this. These are the patents you have to still follow up and get it in your name. That's the legal status. These are the ones which we are maintaining for the last so many years. In your new structure, will you maintain or not? If you don't maintain, what happens? The patent is in the public domain. Now my search will give me that information also. It will also give me, this is the other part. So there are 5 types of searches. I must have talked to you about novelty searches, search report, invalidity search report. He must have also talked to you about FTOs, freedom to operate reports, technology trend reports, that competitor intelligence reports. All these are types of reports which are generated based on the information which is in that patent. Almost 5 to 10 types of reports are there. All reports need not be there for all. You have your institute, a scientist comes to you, I want to file. All he wants is a prior art search report. I consider that a very low level type of one. Just tell him, in this area of domain, these many patents are already existing. If you are thinking of filing, you must be careful about whether your novelty is going to be hindered by those patents or not. So when I am doing a search, I am looking at inventors, location, technology. I am also going to look at the claims. Fortunately or unfortunately, and particularly in the biotech field, your patents, those claims go to pages. He was referring to BRCA patent. It is more than 110 pages, that patent itself. So claims, when you read closely, you will know what is the type of technology, what is that area he has put the boundary on his invention. What is the area I can go in between and then work on it. This is what is actually called as the FTO one. Okay? So we try to, keeping that as in mind. Now, when I do this analysis, I should have a depth of my knowledge in BT also. any patent searcher, you cannot be master of all subjects. But when you are doing a search, you need to have develop your search methodology, and that search methodology will be dependent on the level of subject knowledge you have, which means you should do a basic information about that. You can go to any sites, read books, read it, but your level should be there. So when we started the BT1, I should know what is BT about. What is B, what is T, what is the level of technology, what is the framework. And using that, we actually constructed that there are maybe 7 areas we should look at. Each area, what are the details, subject matter. In each, what are the tools which would be there in the claims. See, I have to search everything. First, I should know which area. So I should give a generic search. Then I should go in that which area. Then again, I should know the details. Because when I'm reading the claims, all of you must have seen patents, no? Have you read a patent? They are never straightforward. That is the art. They try to ghum ke bolenge, but they will never tell on the actual thing. Where do you get the actual heart of the patent is? In the claims. And claims will be dependent and independent claims also. You have to read each and every claim. So when I read also, I need to, and how do, you can't expect people to read. They are all menu-based algorithmic searches. So you need the correct keywords to put in and develop your strategy. So we developed this, and actually it was under a project. So we got the expert opinion, people who are in the field doing this BT. We got them. We said, are we correct on the correct line or not? Now, when you are doing searches left and right, it's sometimes difficult. That's how this peer thing is. Even today, when Dr. Hirvani's lab does something on agriculture, they come back to us. Is it okay? You are the only person. If I'm not able, I'll go to my other colleagues and then, but we'll definitely try to validate it. Otherwise, we may not hit the correct track. So we did this first, and then this is my own belief, okay? I have developed in our team, every time we do a search, it's mandatory for my team people to go into the no charge providers. What are the no charge providers? All the national available patent databases which are available in the national offices. Of course, as a habit, we go to EPO, USPTO, and because we are in India, we make it India. Right now, I tell you, even Japanese is good. Korean is extremely good. You get the English translations. But it depends on my technology. I would not need to go and look in Japanese one if my technology is not even entered that country. I don't need. What is the meaning of my searching in the national one? I'm looking for those patents which are there in that country, isn't it? If my technology is already available in US, I'm going to look at the patent search in the USPTO. But there is this hidden meaning of my searching in EPO. Why? Tell me. Why is EPO more preferred under the public domain areas? Why?
It includes a lot of countries, like 190 countries.
Fantastic, very good, very good. EPO, USPTO का drawback है, it gives good, it's very fast, gives you all from 19th century onwards, you get lot of patents, menu driven, easy to construct the strategy, but it gives only US patents. And we all know that there is a term called patent family. Many of us will go, many of the researchers file in different jurisdiction, and a patent family, what is a patent family?
Different countries.
Same application filed in different countries where there is a priority document and a prior date also. Suppose India is a member of Paris Convention. So I file here. After 6 months, I realized that Brazil is also doing a lot in that technology. And in technology, if it gets a Brazilian patent right in Brazil, it will be helping for better technology transfer because I'll have the ownership. So I go to Brazil to file. And if I go through the convention country route, because we are part of the Paris Convention and both the countries are members, within a period of 12 months, if I file in that country, the priority date which is there in the first member country will hold good there also. Of course, the national level scrutiny will continue at the respective databases. Is it clear? So that's another Paris Convention. It's important for me to know this. There was a very interesting case of a patent which was filed by a researcher in US and they wanted to enter Brazil. It is a real case, I am telling you. When they wanted to enter Brazil, they found there was no filing done, but they wanted to transfer. So they did search report had to be generated and they found that even though it was a Paris Convention country and US also you can file it, the date of it was beyond that 12 months period, so it could not file. So then what would be the strategy for this person to protect his technology is the next question. Have you understood what I am trying to say? I am entering a country to market my technology in a country where I don't have any more rights to file because my first filing in US will kill the novelty and I don't have provision under the Paris Convention to file also. But I still want to market because market is better in Brazil. Then I have to think of another strategy. That is where my report comes in use because I will give them the freedom to operate report next level. Okay? So this I am trying to tell you, we are just trying to recapitulate what was taught in the earlier. It's just for 1 hour or 2 hours Dr. Hirvani must have talked, but then this is a whole area which is full of interesting complexities only. Okay? So as a policy, now in EP you also get the PCT grants. Paris Convention to baat ki baat hai. You also have another facility called PCT. And PCT, what is it? Is it a granting authority? Good, very good. You are a patent agent? Okay, good to see people, in this area, if somebody I get, because the number of people who know are very few, okay. So, and PCT, it's just, you get the publication number, you get a WO number at the end of 18 number. You can get an examination report, you can, on the PCT. So you need to know, those will only come in EPO. Patent family, which is also including the WO application status, comes up in EPO. So when I am doing a search, particularly when I am doing a novelty search, I would need to go to all areas. It's difficult to say do all. If I go to Russia or I go to China, it becomes difficult for me to get because it will be in their language. But I can get Japanese. How? Since I am looking at you because you seem to be knowing.
They have their own portal,
Jap mein to Japanese aayega. More than that, in the EPO, there is a trilateral treaty between Japan, EP and US. So generally, under that, when you click onto that, you will get the Jap ones there. Very recently, they have started the English version of the abstract. You don't get the full. But under trilateral, you get both also. That's one. Now, I was doing a search on the German one, Deutsch. But then the advantage, it's in German, national level pe. EP का मतलब है, EP office में है. But again in the EP countries, the applicant has to go at the national office and get a grant. It is a different thing that when you file in Munich, you can also go to France and it's applicable, the rights. Everything is there, but they have their own structure, which is there. EP, European Patent Office functions there, but that doesn't mean the grant is there in individual countries. They have their own way of filing in the member countries of EP after that also. But at a place, I have seen, now the third is Indian, because you are in India. There is no rule that we have to file all our patents in India. I don't have any market for my some cutting edge technology and I have only, I need not. But what is the rule in Indian Patent Office?
I have to take permission.
Yeah, under the section? Section? And how many days? 40 days? You should get a reply. You can give plus minus, but you can go ahead then. Why do they do that? They also, because of the other two sections, section 2 and whatever are prohibited under the atomic energy and defense purposes, the patent office is empowered by the government to look at it and then give you the permission to go forward. That is the only reason. You can file, you are now Indian Patent Office, I'm sure he will tell you that is they are allowed to be for PCT filing also. You are a search facility as well as an examination facility. That's fine with us. So, but since we are from this country, there will be that objective of also filing in our own country because we will have better domestic markets to look at. So, we do that. Now, when I go to the Indian Patent Office search, one I will get only once after 2007. My problem is that. My problem, another problem is in the earlier version of IPAIRs, when I go, I only get abstracts. I rarely get the full. So, I have to do another search is every Friday I get the Gazette notification, go through that. As a, if you are into this field, make a habit of just clicking onto the Friday newsletter every Friday. As a practice over the weekend, come se come. You will know what has come. You will see so many rejections of the ICR patents once in a while also. So, you will see why they are rejected, everything comes out. So, Indian patent is there, 2007 se hi milta hai. And recently they have launched since last 2 months the PatStat also, which is a good, better tool for in the Indian Patent Office. So, we are also, you can get from India. Now, before 2007, if it is part of a patent family, I have taken lot of patents from the EPO. In this itself we had done, because this is a 2010 work. That time it was not that great Indian Patent Office search. And to my pleasant surprise, I saw many ICR patents on the EPO because they are part of a family and all. It's good to know which are the resources. So, in our center, we make it a point, whatever search, if my RA doesn't come up with this report, I don't let them access the charge providers also. After that, you can also use the no charge providers, which are Google patents, free patents. Some people also do one thing. When they have to search for, say, BT, they go to Google first and get some standard patents. So, it's how you plan your work. That framework planning is up to you, but you can do that also. Okay? And then, of course, charge providers. In this study, we used Delphion and Derwent and only Thomson. In the other studies, recently in 2015, there was a paper which has come on chitin we have done, and there we have used many other providers. At this point of time, we have now invested in about 4 to 5 service providers. Depending on the type of work we try and do, because every provider you have to relearn, something like buying a software. You buy, everybody is used to Microsoft, so you are all happy. But earlier it used to be WordStar, WordPerfect, every time the commands differ. So, you have to relearn. So, we have Questel, we also have Lexorbis, we also have Thomson. Thomson is important because it gives you Derwent. Derwent database is something, a patent is all menu driven. So, suppose and have you seen titles of patents? Very vague. When you go to search in literature, they will say studies on Amaranthus species, so and so and everything. In case of patents, they will say title of this is nanotechnology in agriculture. Come on, that's just too vague. So, when you do the menu driven, you get these words. I saw one patent, nano in agriculture, and you go down, this mein kuch bhi nahi in nano. Nothing in agriculture. Somewhere they will say it can be applied in fields. Well, that's not agriculture. But that fellow cleverly has written a title which is accepted also, because title can be as vague as possible also. No one, you notice any patent, there will be no botanical name, there will be no zoological name, nothing scientific in it. It will be very vague. Now, Derwent database is one tool which Thomson has. It translates and gives the scientific synonyms to all these things. But it's very expensive. So our strategy is first you collect all that, go through all the levels, and finally we recheck. Because when you do a search, man mein yahi dar rehta hai, have I missed any? Literature says when you do a search, you only reach 20% of our available patents. It's a known fact. And you are making your analysis based on that 20%. So our effort should be to search maximum. So for that, this is how we have standardized. You can have your own way of standardization. This is what I believe that it works. Okay, no one taught me, I did it myself. So this is one. Any doubts still here? So then I wanted to make see, I told you there are different reports. We were trying to look at the technology landscape of this. I have a lot of my scientists who want to work on BT cotton in the next level to bring out the second generation and third generation of BT cotton technology driven varieties. But we need to know about who are the other, what is the other level of technology, whether it is free now, whether I can take it forward without asking them, or whether I have to get into an agreement with them and then take it for researchers thing. So we did this knowledge mapping, and when you start doing it, I divided, this is the way we went. First is on the bibliographic way, then is technology trend, and then understanding the trends through other tools called clustering of patterns in different, framework I had given those, clustered them, and then make themescape so that I get the white spaces in each map. That white space is the area where I can advise them to go forward for investing in that area research. Like, interesting one, cosmetics, shampoos. Have you ever thought the type of shampoos we get nowadays? Somebody will say, they're all technology driven. The type and range of shampoos, you just go and just remember that Spencer's and all those shops, the range, some is oxy something, it will highlight, it will be very clear, shining hair, then hair won't become dry. For everything there is a technology. So these companies, like especially in cosmetic industry, they spend lakhs and lakhs rupees to get the trend. Then only they invest in their new technology, including all those big companies, whichever name you can say. L'Oreal shampoo, some are very thick. The Dove shampoo, advertisement kaisa aata hai, that when you put protein rich, everything is an element of technology. Every part only. So you can get that white space. So what we did when we did the timeline, we found that now it's not it's all self-learning experience for me. This is my first report which we had done for a pattern landscape study. So it was all self. When I was looking at priority year and publication year, how do I explain the drops? Biggest challenge for me. Now then we spent almost, I remember, about a month or two. So how do I explain this graph at all? But the time lag between your filing and the publication itself can be a reason for the thing. But the trend is that there is an investment, there is an effort by several people in certain years. In 1995 there is a year, in 2007 we found there was more of, then we need to correlate why in that year there have been so many inventions. It cannot be year specific, but we can definitely do for a period. Okay? Remember 1994, 1995, there were a lot of global changes. There was a call for liberalization of technologies across the world. So companies started becoming aware of it. Right now, if you look at the ICT sector, you will find many of these companies like Wipro and what we call all these Infosys, all of them have started hiring a lot of patent analysts and patent engineers. Why do you think? Are they doing? There is a foresight report. Foresight is something which is going to happen in future, to say that some of the software technologies which are now going to come up, and they will have a huge market in Southeast Asia, because we will be completing certain certain periods under the WTO, and then you cannot have, you will have to open the markets for many of the software. These companies are investing in these positions currently only because they want to be ready by 2016-17. 17 is the date, with good portfolio of patents in this sector in the jurisdiction of Southeast Asia. It's a known thing, and you just go and see the type of hirings which are happening now in all the conductor and that industry. Of late, Korea, Korea is now a leader in semiconductor, including Samsung. The type of investments they are looking, they know that in the future a lot of research and technologies will come from this area. So need this manpower already in position, and which will help them to bargain when they are talking in the domestic, as well as people who will come from the US and China, of course. So this is the way you come to know.
And what is the number of patents?
Yeah? Oh, N number. That's my number. I'm still a scientist now. We don't do any, N number is after you remove the duplicates and all that. My standard number of 194 patents which we got on different technologies in the 7 areas. So not much, N9, 194. But then I have if I remember in this study, the period of search also. You must say within the period of between 2007, I think it was 2007 and 10 years back. So that period, define which area, these many you get after removing from all the sources, you do the search, then you come with an X number of data set. For analysis, I need that. Okay? That's N. So what did we also find? We found that in this, that the jurisdictions, the type of assignee countries, I am not talking about assignee per se, I am talking about assignee countries, was US, Europe, and interestingly, even India had. That means there were certain filings which were India-based, centric. Inventor countries, look at it. You had India 4%, which means there were certain people who were the inventors who were of Indian origin, who were part of some of the patents which are probably generated across the world also. You also had the priority countries. Getting the priority country is where the technology has good markets. I get the trend on that. I get that. It didn't, even India fitted in there. And then of course designated countries, of course, because I got Europe, Austria, Belgium, I told you, Europe mein to you again after EP patent you go to the national filing. Of all the countries, Austria is very fast. You get your grants very fast, they examine it very fast. So that's the way you get a message. Then we said, okay, I got the type of assignees, which are they? Are they government? Are they industry? Or if it is government, the type of, how should I approach to get that technology when I am building a new BT cotton variety? So that is a message I will get. So we got that most of them, of course, were big companies. We also had independent investors. We also had institutes. And more interesting is, I found we got collaborations also between two private agencies, public organization, but no public-private organization figured in this study. In chitin, when we did, we found a lot of public-private also in it. So these are the type of, in the data set, some of these companies who had thought of investing. So then we try to correlate how technology has moved. So I don't know, and I'm sure my friend from seed industry should tell you, there has been an evolution of seed companies coming up in, if you really look over the last few decades. We try to do from 1991 till 2010, which are the principal companies. In fact, you know, a lot of these, Agaricitis was actually Monsanto's original company. Then it was joined into Monsanto. With this, we come to know how the acquisitions and mergers happened over the years. It's not easy to do, but it's okay. We can. We also found there was a rise of Syngenta and Pioneer hybrid coming in the last decade. So if I am looking, see, why should I look at 1994 also? Term also will be completing. So my strategy is, if I do it in decade, I'll know which is going to end where, the legal term also, okay? Oh, this we did, many people laughed at me when we did from Indian patent, but maybe you call me nationalistic, but I think it's important. And now I have no regrets because it's mandatory, we do it. India is a big country where a lot of investments should come. Interestingly, let me tell you, this BT technology in 1992, did it have a patent in India, which Monsanto brought? We didn't have biotech. Just now he said biotechnology patents were started to grant only after 2005. Even today, it's operationally still not in place. You didn't have. But then look at the technology which didn't have a patent in India, went into so much of licensing, and today you have so much of patents coming. You'll just see the next slide where we had. So we started doing, we just got about 35 relevant documents. And when we did the same thing, we found a lot of new names coming also. I mean, it was something very, very interesting to us when we just see the type of MNCs which were figuring. And we found one distinction. There was a very good patent filed from Australia, CSIRO Australia, with a private company in India. Now, why did they do that? I leave it to your understanding. Are you following what I'm saying? Okay. So this is something which we try to understand. We found that in the result that one technology has led to a platform of multiple technology providers, and I think that's important for me to understand. One BT technology, one event in the initial 1992 has led to so many. What is the meaning of patent? Patent technology is to generate more innovations in the longer run. This is exactly what has come. Our result, almost 34 indigenous companies and 1 public sectors are now involved into this technology. At that time it was 522, now it has changed, the number of hybrids which have come. That's what, this is 2010. Look at, no, that's even in 2000, 5 साल में double हो गया. 5 साल में double, 5 साल में 34 companies have 45 companies. Look at the potential of this technology where people are investing. This is what we are trying to tell. This is a larger type of report which we are trying to signal to the country also. Even ICAR as a government, we should understand that there are several players. There are also one more significant, why should I invest my public sector money in certain areas where already there is private player? Rather, I negotiate with him and take him to the next level. That is a better way and prudent way of investments. Okay, that's what we should look at, this type of technology. Now, I told you we made 7 events. What type of IPC? You all know what is IPC class? What is C12? If you do a lot of work, I tell you what is CON1, AO1, AM, everything I should be able to tell. Tuck, 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 it comes. But it's not, I mean, A63 क्या है? A63AK, A63N, medical. You'll have several of these cutting edge technologies. Like when we did the Nano. Nano in US PTO applications, it's Europe it is YO1, Nano is B22 in US PTO, kind codes in US. So everything differs. But IPC, there also new classes come. But applications are there across different IPCs, which means it's such a versatile research tool that it has applications in defense, it has got in agriculture, it's got in fisheries, it's got in fertilizer industry, in medicine. I have one nanoparticle, I can rule the world with that patent. That is what I'm trying to tell you, we get with this IPC. You as searchers can give this evidence to your policymakers or your bosses, this is good investment or not, okay? I'm not going into the details, but we got that it's mostly in, as expected, in the C12 and CO7. So we try to make thematic areas of the type of BT technology, and we constructed in which area, who is the owner of that technology. Now that's more important to me. So I am working on, say, a protein type. I will know I have to go in to check the Monsanto collection also. And now this we just started at that time, that we thought let us do the clustering of patent. Now what is patent clustering? What are those in that set group which are same technologies? If I do the cluster, I can map and I can go for white space. That also is needed to be done. This table is there, but it's not that easy. To get this table, it took more than 3-4 attempts and doing a lot of research on it. And we tried to see the cluster map. So what is the similarity? How much? There is a tool in Thomson, by which you can actually get to know which theme is more closer. So when I'm working on, say, theme 1, my company is investing, if theme 1 is more closer to the cluster of patents in theme 4, I should be aware of the different sets of patents in those two themes and to check whether I'm not, crossing my, how much freedom I have to operate and to utilize those tools. If I don't, I should negotiate and get their permission to use it. Remember, under the law, anything used for research is allowed, but you need to get that. Or I have to get that particular cell line or gene, I can go for an MTA, I can go for some agreement also. So we then tried to do the Eureka themescape, and we found which is the low patent activity and high concentration, and the white space analysis. So these are actually raised hills in this map you get. So that if it is very complex, it will be more, hilltop will be more, altitude will be more, okay? These are all set, then we just try to compare them also. So what we found is, lot of new technologies are coming up in gene promoters, gene expression, and detection processes. More focus there was on gene expression. More important to me as a policy, several technology providers are coming up in the market, which means I should know which are these companies also. And it's a pretty complex, BT is a very small example in biotechnology. It's a multi-layered technology with several owners. And most companies of developers should have enough provision for budgets to do the negotiations and get the ownership of these technologies if their goal is to prepare the improved BT variety. Okay, we stop here, and if you have questions, I would be happy to answer. Maybe it was too high, but basically I was just trying to tell you, you are all very young. If you are able to use science and learn into this, it's a fantastic field of a career also. And there are a lot of, you are all, most of you based here in, if you go to Gurgaon and what we call Delhi, yes, so many. Even when patent, I think recently they have announced for patent examiners, some 300 odd vacancies are there, 500. They are not asked for much skills except being science and this, but later they need people with search skills.